What up and welcome to the Beneath the Dirt podcast. I'm your host, Bone. Thank you for tuning in. Episode 166 in the motherfucking high. What's good, everybody? Thank you for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube or your favorite podcasting app. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. And what's up? What's good? What's good? What's really good? That's what I want to know, man. What the fuck is really good? Man, closing out the fucking year, wrapping this motherfucker up. Yeah. Hope everybody's staying safe, all that good shit. Hope if you celebrate the holidays and all that, you got your shopping done, all that shit, you know? And yeah, we just kicking it, man. We just kicking it, you know? So we got some shit to talk about this week. Not a whole lot, but some interesting shit that we're going to break down and hope maybe try to make sense of. I don't even know at this point. We'll just have to fucking wait and see, I suppose. But let's see. Where shall we start? Let's start out by giving a shout out. Scott Matthews sending in a donation this week. He says, "Thank you for continuing to bring the killer content, brother. You still the man, and I'm glad to see you feeling better. Merry Christmas, Scott. Thank you again. Much love for your donation. Super appreciated, and I am feeling much better. I'm pretty much damn near 100% at this point. And yeah, we fucking kicking it, man. We kicking it. Year-end wrap-up podcast is coming. It's done. It's recorded. Some people said they wanted a longer podcast. Guess what? You got it. Motherfucking 2.5 hour podcast. Does that sound good to you? Does that sound good? Yeah? No? Maybe? Well, 2.5 hour year-end wrap-up podcast. I was joined by the homie Joker's Gallery. That's coming real soon. Not exactly sure when I'm going to upload it, but it is coming. Don't forget, the top 20 albums of 2021 is also coming. That might be next week's episode. Say fuck whatever news goes on this week unless something crazy happens. We're going to break down the top 20 albums next week. But we got shit to talk about this week. New music, all that good shit. Excuse me. Let's get into some of my favorite songs. A few of my favorite songs that dropped this week. First up, we got C. Lance. That's right. He's back. I believe this is the third single that he's given us off his upcoming album. This song is featuring Cryptic Wisdom, Rittz, and Novatore. Song is called Total Disaster, and the song is anything but a disaster. This shit is fire. I really dig it. It's been a minute since I've heard Cryptic Wisdom drop music. So it was, kind of surprising. When I saw that it was Cryptic Wisdom and Rittz, I was like, how's this going to work? Never heard of Novatore, but he brought it on the track as well. Cryptic Wisdom, he could sing, he could rap. Rittz, he raps very well. Novatore, turns out, he could rap pretty good as well. And C. Lance just brings the heat with the production on this, man. I keep saying it, but I'm looking forward to C. Lance's album. Shit's going to be fire, man. These first few singles that he's given us off the album have been really good. Really good. So I'm hyped for it. And yeah, go peep the shit. It is dope. It is available everywhere you would want to listen to music. And all three dudes brought it on that fucking track, man. Very fire. And C. Lance had previously put out a song with Vinny Paz and Ill Bill. And Ill Bill dropped a new single this week called Skrill Bill, produced by Rare Scrilla, I believe. And Ill Bill actually dropped this a couple weeks ago as an NFT. I don't know if it was the actual song or if it was the artwork or some kind of animation. Again, I do not understand how NFTs work. I just don't know. I'm completely ignorant to the situation of NFTs. I just don't know how they work, and cryptocurrency and all that shit. I just don't know. But what I do know is Ill Bill dropped this single this past Friday. It's a minute and a half long, but This dude, Ill Bill, he's just one of my favorites. I say it all the time, just one of my favorites. You know, only only when you're Ill Bill can you drop a minute and a half track and it just be like, all right, I'm satisfied with this song. It's short as shit, but Bill brought the fucking fire on it, man. You know, he dropped La Bella Medusa last year. That album was fire. We need new La Coca Nostra. Ill Bill and Slain. Like, I really want new La Coca Nostra. It's been a minute since To Thine Own Self Be True dropped. It's been, I want to say, like 5 years maybe since that album came out. It's been a minute. It's been a while, but every time La Coca drops, it's fire. It's been a couple years since Heavy Metal Kings dropped. Would like to see some Heavy Metal Kings. What I would really like, and I would take over either one of those projects, is new nonfiction. Ill Bill did have Sabak and Lord Goat, formerly known as Gore-Tex, on his album last year. Bill stays working with DJ Eclipse as well. But I would like to see those dudes reunite. Give us some new music. That would be really dope. At some point, get a new nonfiction project. It's been damn near 20 years since we got one. So that would be hype. But Ill Bill, man, just consistently dropping heat, even when it's only a minute and a half track. The shit is fucking fire. Peep that shit if you haven't yet. And then, another track that dropped this, Chris Webby. Back with the Webby Wednesdays. I don't think I covered the last couple, but he came back with some fucking heat this week with a song called We Up featuring DMX. Now, according to Chris Webby, this was DMX's last recorded feature that he ever did before he passed. Rest in peace, DMX. And this track right here is fucking fire. Flame emojis all fucking day. Flame emojis. You see it in the background right here. Fucking flame emojis. That's what this track is. Chris Webby featuring DMX. We Up. Chris Webby brought the fucking heat on here. It's a really good feature from DMX. Like, it ain't just some fucking throwaway verse or anything like that. The production is fire. Some hype shit. I dig it, man. This would be some, like, live show mosh pit music right here from Chris Webby and DMX. Like, oh, man. This shit was really fire. One of the better, I don't know if I should say better, but one of my favorite songs that I've heard from Chris Webby so far. Like, this shit is fire. I really dig it. And peep that shit, man. It's up on all DSPs everywhere. And it's fucking fire, man. And like I always say, I'm going to, more shameless self-promotion from me. Every fucking song I talk about on the podcast, every album I talk about, I take songs from albums, I take singles and compile them and put out the Weekly Bumps playlist every Friday on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Follow it, like it, do whatever you got to do. If you want to hear the songs I talk about and you want a one-stop hub instead of having to search for these songs, follow these playlists every week. Whatever I talk about on the playlist is whatever I talk about on the podcast is on the playlist. So I can make it easier for you. You just got to meet me halfway, follow the playlist. Everything I talk about as far as new music-wise that drops is on this playlist. And shout out to everybody that is already following it. And, shout out to the people that were, hitting me up saying the playlist was one of their most listened to playlists throughout the year and shit like that. Like, that's super dope, man. I'm glad people tune into the playlist and maybe get put onto some new music that they otherwise may not have ever heard or would have taken the chance to listen to. So yeah, go follow the Weekly Bumps playlist. Just a little clickety click. Link is in the fucking bio. You know what I mean? In the fucking description of the YouTube video. All that shit. Beneathdirt.com is the hub. So go follow that shit, man. And yeah, let's get into some shit, right? Let's get into some shit. ICP. They are they started back up the December streams last week, and the first episode we had was ICP investigates the fall of the Cottonmouth Kings. And yo, I said from the jump when they originally released this schedule that I was looking forward to this show the most out of all the shows that they were doing in December. And this show did not disappoint. Not only did it not disappoint, but yo, this is one of the best shows that they've done with these streams ever. From the October streams last year, the December streams last year, February, fucking May, June, whatever. Out of all the streams that they've done, this is up there. Easily top 5. Easily top 5. Man, the way they broke down like Cottonmouth King's career and the way Violent J is like invested in the shit into wondering what happened with the Cottonmouth Kings. I mean, Shaggy and Jumpsteady too. But Violent J was really killing it on this show. And they had Chucky Chuck on the show. Chucky Chuck, longtime affiliate of Cottonmouth King. He's a sub-noise soldier. He's been rocking with KMK for a long ass time. They had Kevin Zinger on the show, the manager, former manager of Cottonmouth Kings, the owner of SRH and Suburban Noize. They had DJ Bobby B in the fucking building, and Johnny Richter was supposed to be there, but he somehow, wasn't able to keep his call on the show. Some shit, I don't know, but let's break it down. They first had, broken down in the beginning of the show how Cottonmouth Kings rose to the top, fell off. They're all kind of just broke down the career of Cottonmouth Kings, how Dirtball was added to the group at some point, how they fucks with Dirtball, how they, you could tell ICP really fucks with Cottonmouth Kings. Then after they kind of broke down their career real quick, they had Chucky Chuck on the show and asked him, his thoughts on what happened to the Cottonmouth Kings and shit, what would it take to get them back together and shit. And the kind of general consensus amongst everybody was, putting egos aside and, really working out, money, shit that may have gone down. And that's pretty much it, man. Everything that Chucky Chuck had said on this show with ICP, he has said in interviews in the past, and shit like that. So it was dope to hear from Chucky Chuck, Mr. Don't Give a Fuck. And then they had Kevin Zinger up. They were actually supposed to bring Bobby B up first. But I feel like Bobby B was probably waiting and was like, no, fuck that. Let Kevin Zinger go first, because we all know how Bobby B feels about Kevin Zinger. Bobby B does not like Kevin Zinger. If you follow Bobby B on any of his social medias, he has gone on some rants, typing the shits out on his phone or whatever, on Instagram and Twitter, talking about how Kevin Zinger fucked the Cottonmouth Kings over, fucked him over, and all this other stuff. So I feel like Bobby B was like, fuck that, let Kevin Zinger go first. So Kevin Zinger was up next. He spoke his piece. Kevin Zinger kind of just sticking to the fucking but sticking to the same story that he's been kicking for damn near the last 10 years. He's down to talk to anybody. He even said at one point, bring Bobby B on here right now. I'll talk to Bobby B right now. But, he maintains, he didn't fuck anybody over. The big question was of the night, where is Daddy X? Nobody really knows where Daddy X is. Where the fuck is Daddy X? Um, like where the fuck did that dude go? He just up and disappeared to fucking the planet Earth. But yeah, Kevin Zinger just kind of sticking to the same story that he's been telling for the last 10 years. You know, he would like to see Cottonmouth Kings get back together, whether he's involved or not. He would like to see them put their differences aside and get it together for at least the fans. You know, and ICP kept saying that too. You know, why can't they get this together for the fans? You know, give it to the fans. Put the pettiness to the side for the fans. Hold that thought, because I know what you're thinking. Because I was thinking it when I was watching the show, but hold that thought. You know, why can't Cottonmouth Kings just put the shit aside for the fans? Now, I understand the business aspects has to be worked out. You know, people getting screwed over with royalties, possibly publishing, just getting paid in general. You know, we've talked about this on the podcast mad times, bunch of times. The Cottonmouth Kings episodes that I've done for this podcast are the most viewed episodes. Just straight the fuck up. The Cottonmouth Kings episodes are the most viewed out of anything, out of all the fuck shit, anything that has ever gone down since I started doing this podcast. The Cottonmouth Kings episodes are my most viewed and listened to episodes. So people want to know where the fuck the Cottonmouth Kings are. And you know, I've been down with Cottonmouth Kings for more than 20 years since Royal Highness, and ICP really delivered with the show. But after Kevin Zinger, they brought up Bobby B, and man, Bobby B fucking he just had something to say about everybody. It seems like he don't really like anybody except Johnny Richter. You know, he was kind of giving Johnny Richter his props a little bit, but he was really on his fuck Kevin Zinger shit. Um, Bobby B has not gone on video and, you know, talked about the Cottonmouth Kings situation that I know of. You know, he's always been on the Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you know, writing out his feelings and whatnot, but never on video. And you could tell Bobby B was really nervous, especially in the beginning when he first got brought out. He's like, "Man, you're bringing up a whole bunch of emotions in me right now," and you could tell dude was fucking scatterbrained. You know, he was nervous as shit. His voice was cracking. And, you know, Violent J would ask him, you know, where's Daddy X? And he would go on a fuck Kevin Zinger rant for 5 minutes and not even answer Violent J's question. And he did that pretty much consistently throughout the whole shit. A couple times he did finally, you know, answer the question, but you know, it was good to hear from Bobby B, man, and I think Bobby B made some good points in there as well, you know, bringing up the point of, you know, and we've heard this before that supposedly Kevin Zinger had given the Cottonmouth Kings part ownership in SRH, had given them certificates. We've covered this in previous Cottonmouth Confusion episodes. And, you know, if you remember, the Spade logo was everywhere Cottonmouth related. Like the Spade and Cottonmouth was just synonymous with each other. And it just felt like it was one and the same. But in the end, as it turned out, Cottonmouth didn't own a fucking single piece in SRH, allegedly. I guess I'll throw the allegedly word in there. You know, allegedly, they didn't own any piece of SRH, and they were just promoting Zinger's company the whole time. Bobby B was upset about that. Bobby B said he was fucked over on life-changing amounts of money. Like, he made that clear, like, tons of money, screwed out of royalties and all this other shit. And dude is really hurt by it. Dude is really hurt by the whole fucking situation. It's clear. You know, he's super passionate in what he's saying. And, you know, it's hard to really it's kind of hard to determine where the truth is in all of this shit. That's why I've always called it the cottonmouth confusion, because it's just we're hearing everybody's truths. Everybody's speaking their side. It's their truth. But somewhere in the middle of all that shit is the real truth. And what is the real truth? I don't think we'll ever get the real truth of the backstory of Kottonmouth Kings, shit that happened with Kottonmouth Kings, members being kicked out, brought on, the fallout with Brad X and Kevin Zinger. Why d-loc is just doing fucking Kottonmouth Kings as a solo thing now. It was too bad that we didn't get to hear from Johnny Richter. They said that they had lost Johnny Richter's call for the Kottonmouth, the rise and fall, the ICP investigates fucking whatever. And I would have liked to hear from Johnny Richter because we haven't heard much from Johnny Richter. Earlier this year, he did go on a live stream and he did address, kind of the current state of the Kottonmouth Kings. And it was refreshing to hear his side because we're just so used to hearing one side, d-loc side of what the fuck is happening or what has happened. But it would have been nice to have ICP interview Johnny Richter for the show, just to kind of put that cherry on top and, interview somebody that was in the actual group. Bobby B said that he had actually fought Johnny Richter twice on the tour bus. Like, I would imagine fist fighting is what he meant. And like, that was another common theme that was brought up was infighting. I've never heard that term before, infighting in a group. But apparently there was a lot of infighting in Kottonmouth Kings, a lot of disagreements. And it's just unfortunate, man. I've said it so many times. Kottonmouth Kings, probably a top 5 group for me, easily. Easily a top 5 group for me of all time. Love me some Kottonmouth Kings. So it was cool to hear everybody's side of the story. More particularly Bobby B. It's a shame we didn't get Johnny Richter, but it is what it is. It just nobody's on the same page, and it speaks volumes. It speaks fucking volumes that d-loc wasn't even a part of this, even to begin with. I got to imagine that ICP reached out to d-loc to get him on the show. He must have turned it down. Like if they managed to get Bobby on the show, they had to have reached out to d-loc, and he had to have turned it down because he just doesn't want to fucking face what he's doing, own up to the bullshit that he's doing right now, and just wants to turn what you can't see doesn't fucking exist, or whatever the fuck that saying is, But that's what I think. It speaks volumes on fucking d-loc. Like, he don't even want to address this shit. And he should. He's continuing on with the Kottonmouth name. So I'm sure they reached out to d-loc to be a part of the show. And I got to assume that he turned it down. It's all fucking speculation and whatnot. But, man, just the fact that he wasn't a part of it is crazy. And, Violent J kept asking, where's Daddy X? So if you don't even know where Daddy X is, I'm sure he didn't even get a chance to ask him to be a part of the show. But if he knew where he was and could get a hold of him, I'm sure he would have asked him and had him be a part of the show. It would be fucking really good to hear from Daddy X, hear his side of the story. Because from my point of view of it all, it kind of seems like everything that he was saying might not been 100% true. Kind of seemed like maybe he was the reason for the downfall of Kottonmouth Kings. I don't know. Another interesting thing that Violent J brought up, he said, even as recently as maybe 5-6 years ago, he was in talks with Daddy X to get the Kottonmouth Kings signed to Psychopathic Records. Now, Psychopathic was originally going to sign Kottonmouth Kings way back in the day, back before Royal Highness. They were on the Funhouse tour, and touring with the Clowns and Twisted. They were going to originally sign to Psychopathic back in the day, and then they ended up doing their own thing. But he was in talks with Daddy X of getting Kottonmouth Kings signed to Psychopathic Records. That would have been dope. Like 5-6 years ago, Twisted wasn't on the label anymore. Blaze left, Boondocks left, A&B was gone. Everybody was gone. It was pretty much ICP at that point. And to bring Kottonmouth Kings on the label would have been epic as fuck. I would have marked out. Especially if they got everybody back in the group. Johnny Richter, Loc, X, Bobby, even Dirtball. It would have been fucking fire for that shit to happen. Lou Dog, shit, Taxman, bring them all back. Like that would have been fucking dope as hell. You know, and Bobby B said at one point, Violent J asked Bobby B, he said, you know, what would it take to get you to, you know, sit down with these guys and talk about it? And Bobby B was like, if you mediate the shit, I'll be a part of it, you know? And Violent J was like, shit, man, you're going to put this on me. But it kind of seemed like Violent J's down for it. It seemed like he has genuine love for the Kottonmouth Kings, and it shouldn't come as any surprise. You know, knowing their history, all the tours they've been on, collaborations that they've done together, ICP, Kottonmouth Kings, and Kottonmouth Kings and Juggalos is just, you know, it's all in that fucking circle, man. And, you know, Jump Steady had brought up the fact that the Gathering of Dreams, you know, the Gathering in 2022 is called the Gathering of Dreams. And it would be a fucking dream to get Kottonmouth Kings reunited for the Gathering of Dreams. Imagine that shit. People would go absolutely fucking crazy if Kottonmouth Kings reunited at the Gathering of the Juggalos. So, you know, maybe if we take Zinger out of the picture because Bobby B doesn't like Zinger. I don't know necessarily if Zinger is totally to blame for this shit. I've always believed what he said, and I felt like as years went on, his side of the story seemed more true than anybody else's. But if Bobby B is, if what Bobby B is saying is true as well, I could understand him not wanting to work with him. But if they could get like ICP to fucking put the Kottonmouth Kings back together and perform at the Gathering, or reunite for the ICP farewell tour, like that shit would be fucking dope as hell. That would be fire. Like, man, I'd love to see Kottonmouth Kings reunite, man. I really would. Even Violent J said, you know, bring Dirtball back into the picture, even though he's not an OG member. Bring him back. And I'm all for that too. Bring them all fucking back. I don't give a fuck, man. Kottonmouth Kings, you know, just one of my all-time favorite groups. This was such a dope show. If you haven't checked it out, check it out up on their Twitch page. Especially if you're a fan of Kottonmouth Kings. Like, if you're a fan of Kottonmouth and you didn't see this show yet, you're fucking doing yourself a disservice. I'm probably going to go back and watch a replay of this shit because it was that fucking good. I highly enjoyed this episode. Again, one of the best shows that they've done out of all the streams that they've done since they've started doing them. So, you know, fingers crossed. Violent J can fucking put all this shit together, you know? And another thing, before we get off this Kottonmouth topic, he kept saying throughout the show, you know, can't they just put the pettiness aside for the fans and give the fans what they want? And every time he said that, and the first time he said that, immediately I thought was, can't you put the pettiness aside and get back together with Twisted and just do some shit with Twisted again? Just give us Dark Lotus, or if it ain't Dark Lotus, give us some new music. Just say that you're fucking cool with each other. I don't know, possibly go on a tour or some shit, but man, Violent J could really take some of his own advice that he was dishing out on that Cottonmouth Kings show. And I just kept thinking it like, man, if he would put the pettiness aside, because he's a petty motherfucker, and we're gonna get to that in a minute, some more. But man, I kept thinking that every time he said that on that Cottonmouth show. But yeah, that show was fucking fire. Again, check it if you ain't fucking already peeped it, man. It's up on their Twitch page. And then what was it? Wednesday night, I believe. They had the Zen of Love podcast, episode 3, ICP and Jump Steady, and they actually had Dr. Drew as a special guest on the podcast. I didn't listen to it. I caught a little bit of it. I have never been a big fan of the Zen of Love podcast. I don't know. It's just kind of weird getting love advice from ICP. That's me personally. But to see them have Dr. Drew on the show is dope. And it might be worth me going back and checking that shit out. But they did have that as well. And then they got the Juggalo Gong show going down. This is basically the Juggalo talent show where, you know, you go do whatever the fuck your talent is on stage in front of ICP, in front of Juggalos, and they tell you if your shit's dope or not. I didn't catch I think this is the second one that they've done. I didn't catch the previous one or ones that they've done before. But that went down Saturday night as well. And, you know, people are asking how can they watch the previous streams from ICP on their Twitch channel? Do you have to pay to subscribe? You can subscribe on Twitch for, I think it's $5 or $6 for the month. And then you get to watch all the previously recorded shows that they put out. Or if you have an Amazon Prime account, I had made the post up on my social medias last week. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link your Twitch account to the Amazon account and get a free Twitch subscription every month. So if you have Amazon Prime, link it to your Twitch, and then you can subscribe to ICP's ICP network for free. And that way you can watch all the previous recorded episodes and still support ICP at the same time. You know, them not doing it on Patreon anymore, you know, they're kind of taking a hit on not getting all the paid subscriptions. But with Twitch, you could donate the bits. You can subscribe for $5.99 or whatever it is. Subscribe for free with your Amazon Prime account, and it all helps support ICP and puts fucking money in ICP's pocket. So, yeah, if you don't have the $5 to subscribe, which is $60 cheaper than it was before, so big W on that, you can get it for free as long as you have an Amazon Prime account. So that's dope. I don't think many people knew that shit. And yeah, if you don't know, now you fucking know. You could subscribe to that shit for free. Absolutely fucking free. And that's fucking dope. And that pretty much wraps up the streams for ICP last week. But not all for the ICP news of last week. They announced and did release the Clown Drippin' video off Yum Yum Bedlam. So the first visual, second visual, because Wretched was a video. That's right. That was the first single. This is the second single and second video off Yum Yum Bedlam. It's for Clown Drippin'. Now, for a green screen special, this is like top tier green screen special right here. I love the effects in the video. All the animations that they've done. They even show themselves rapping in front of the green screen, like just straight up, which I thought was pretty funny, pretty cool. The visuals for this song are pretty fucking fire. I'm not a fan of the song, so it's kind of whatever. I just wanted to check out the visuals, see how they were. And the visuals were fucking dope. But one of the visuals that they had in the video, it'd be hard to see on this image right here. I did post it up on all my social media pages. There's a line about fake juggalos in the song. And they posted this image right here that you see if you're watching on YouTube. A nerdy looking dude with a bow tie and a fucking sweater vest, glasses, eyes all googly, face painted like Violent J. It says fake juggalos in the background. And if you look closely in the background, it's kind of blurry, but you see Twisted. You see the most tasteless faces. You see the freak show faces. The animated faces that they have of from the most tasteless era and the freak show era are in the background where they're talking about fake juggalos. It says fake juggahos. The sneak dissing is still going. ICP, they be sneak dissing. Twisted be sneak dissing all the fucking time. A whole lot of sneak dissing back and forth. Sometimes more blatant than others. Like this shit right here, like using an actual image. It ain't the first time. Like, remember the 6 foot, 7 foot video where they had, the Magic Ninja logo, the M&E offices, and all that shit. But this goes back to the point of, Violent J during that Cottonmouth Kings episode saying, why can't they get past the pettiness and do shit for the fans? I mean, pettiness at an all-time high right here with this clown dripping video, this clip in the clown dripping video. Granted, it's like a second, if that, if even a full fucking second. But it's there, and it's the sneak dissing back and forth. Again, I've gone on record saying, if you're gonna diss each other, just fucking diss each other on a record. Say fucking names. Say the fucking names. I'm all for a rap beef like that. But really, what do I really want that? Or would I rather them get past the pettiness, reunite, be cool with each other, do music again, maybe do some shows again, have Twisted at the fucking gathering again, even if they don't headline a night, just to have them back at a gathering, some shit like that. I would much rather a reunion than the fucking sneak dissing, blatant dissing, any kind of dissing, man. I really would. And it is a lot of people, a bunch of people are on the page of this shit is getting old at this point. I'm pretty much there as well at this point. I've kind of encouraged the sneak dissing previously on this podcast, but it's getting kind of fucking old, man. It really is. On both parties, ICP and Twisted. It's just getting old. Just getting old. I love both groups too fucking much. Too much to just keep witnessing this pettiness. Whether somebody really fucked another person over or not is regardless of the situation. Just don't fucking even acknowledge each other is kind of what I'm on at this point. I'm just kind of over it. I don't want to hear sneak disses from either side. Put the pettiness aside, and get to the fucking money. That was another point Violent J was making during the Cottonmouth Kings thing. They could reunite right now, and people are in that nostalgia phase of bands that they were listening to 20 years ago and could be making a killing. And he's not wrong about that assessment either. Like, if Cottonmouth Kings were to reunite and go on tour, fucking right, I'm buying a ticket to go to see that show. 110%. If ICP and Twisted were reuniting and go on a fucking tour, 110%. Again, 1,000%. Whatever. I'm hitting up that fucking show. Absolutely. So if Violent J can only put the pettiness aside, take his own advice, and get to the bag. Get to the bag. What do the juggalos really want? Even the ones that hate Twisted, I think they would be welcoming of it. Or maybe ICP. What if ICP is afraid the juggalos, some juggalos might turn their back if they if they reunite with Twisted? Is that a possibility? Like, I just thought of that right now. Is that a valid possibility? If ICP were to reunite with Twisted, would the diehard Twisted haters and ICP lovers turn their back on ICP? I'm curious to know. I'm really curious to know if that would be the case. That's some shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. You know, we're going on what, 5 years of the dissing? Back and forth and all that whack shit. It's time to get over it. Or just ignore each other. Maybe not even get over it, but maybe just ignore each other and don't fucking acknowledge it going forward. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. My solution is fucking get over it and reunite. For me. And other juggalos like me that would love to see that shit. Straight up. But yeah. Let's sneak this in aside and all that other shit. The clown dripping video is pretty dope. I really like the visuals. Really colorful shit. It was a World Star exclusive as well. ICP staying getting those World Star exclusives, which I think is a good look. And just a big W for that. And a big W for the Cottonmouth episode. But a big L for not putting the fucking bullshit and pettiness aside. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think that covers it pretty well. I think, right? I think so. But yeah, you can subscribe for free if you have Amazon Prime. Do not forget. And yeah. Let's get into... let's see. Let's get into some more new music that dropped this week, shall we? Let's do it. ICP related a little bit, even though he hasn't worked with them in close to 10 years at this point. Mikey Clark put out a new single. He actually put out a single last month as well. I completely missed it. But he dropped a single this past Friday called The Wild Hunt, You Better Run. It's Mikey Clark featuring Tom Galder. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Forgive me if I'm not. But Mikey Clark put out a new track. And the other dude, I've never heard of Tom Galder. I'll just say Tom. Just in case if I'm butchering his last name or whatever. But this is this is my first taste of Mikey Clark in a minute. And the shit sounds dope. I like it. It's actually, it's a pretty fucking good song. Considering I never heard the dude who's singing on it. But the production from Mikey Clark is on point. And it's kind of, I was listening to it. I was like, oh man, I know Mikey Clark's working with A La Zuli Lou right now. I'm not saying that this sounds like some shit that Zul would rock. But, it get me kind of hyped for that Zul Mikey Clark project that they got in the works. So go peep that shit if you haven't checked it out yet. Again, he dropped another single last month that I had no idea about until I went and looked up this song because I actually seen the post promotion for this song. And then I noticed that he had dropped another one last month. Didn't listen to that one yet, but this one is pretty dope. So go peep that shit. And then we got Scum, the Gorefather, Mr. Zipperface himself, coming out of the fucking 303 in Denver. I believe it's 303. He dropped a new song called Curbside featuring Darby, Otrill, and Cody Manson. I peeped it. if you like Scum, you're gonna like this. Like Scum just stays consistent in his fucking lane of what he does and what he does best. But yeah, peep that shit. Scum. Song's called Curbside featuring Darby Otrill and Cody Manson. It's just that the gore hop at its finest, man. Don't know what else to say. And then we had the fucking godfather of the wicked shit right here, Esham. We talked about it last week. The album Psyops is out now. I only checked out one song from this album because it is on the Beneath the Dirt Weekly Bumps playlist. Go follow that on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. But I only peeped the one track that I just randomly selected from the album. And it sounds like he's got, probably the band that he tours with live performing the music on this. So it's like kind of like a rock project from Esham. So Esham joins the ranks of the other people who dropped rock projects or dabbled in rock music this year. So Esham Psyops is out now digitally everywhere. And before you ask, no physical copies. Esham said when he dropped the Dichotomy album that he was done pressing up albums on CD and he wouldn't be doing it going forward. He has stuck to that and hasn't pressed up anything on CD. As far as new music goes, he has done the remasters and whatnot, but as far as new music goes, nothing has been pressed up on CD. So no CD for this, no news of it at all. But the album is out digitally everywhere you love listening to, your digital music. And then we got Majik Duce. Majik Duce, he dropped a new track called Feel It Home featuring Candace. This is some heartfelt, introspective Majik Duce shit, You might be able to relate to this song. I dig it. The hook is fucking dope. Candace did her thing on there. Majik Duce did his thing on there. Shout out to Majik Duce. I've been following this dude since his Irish Killer album on Third Shift Entertainment, way back in the horrorcore.com days. Man, I miss those horrorcore.com forum days. I wonder who owns horrorcore.com at this point. I'm sure somebody does. But yeah, Majik Duce dropped a brand new track. Peep that shit. It's dope. Some more real life introspective shit. And then the last new music that we'll talk about this week that dropped this week is Benny the Butcher. He dropped his new single, Mr. Pyrex, man. And this shit is fire. Fire. Benny stays going for more of a mainstream sound, but still bringing those raw, rugged bars. I love this shit. This track is fucking fire. Really dope. If you like Benny the Butcher, you might like this shit. I don't know. I really dig it, but it's fucking fire, man. Benny, one of my favorites out right now. And peep that shit. Go check that shit out. Man, we just fucking rocking along in this week's episode 166. You know what I mean? We still got some more shit to talk about, though. So let's get into it. Buckshot. I called it on last week's episode. Did I not? I said last week, Buckshot will probably have the Mobsyle Christmas album up for sale by the time I fucking had this podcast out. And guess the fuck what? Buckshot got the Mobsyle Christmas album up for sale the day I put up the podcast. So you could go cop that shit. 10 new tracks with Buckshot, Twisted, Boondocks, Blaze, ROC, Lex Axmaster, Mr. Gray, and Triz. I kind of gave my little breakdown of the album last week. I said it was a dope listen. Definitely worth checking out. There's 2 versions of it. I don't know if this special is going on still, but if you spend $50 or more on the Mob Shop before shipping costs, you can get the limited edition Snowfall CD free in your order. Buckshot, again, loves doing the CD variants. Gotta have the variants. So you can cop. I don't know if it's still available or not, but the CD is up for sale. He did announce another little special thing that if you placed any order on the Mobsyle shop, that you would get a free Mobsyle Christmas CD that had taken water damage that Buckshot had in his basement. You know, Kentucky had some pretty serious storms happen. The tornadoes, all sorts of crazy shit. I didn't even know about it. But Buckshot's basement had flood and ruined a bunch of the Mobsyle Christmas CDs that he was going to sell at the Mobsyle Christmas show, but he ended up, not selling them because they got all fucked up. And he said he was just going to throw them away, but instead of throwing them away, he's going to give them away for free. There was like 60 something copies available. They're probably already gone. If not, I don't know, maybe hit up Buckshot, ask him, and then get your order in with the quickness. But this Mobsyle Christmas album is definitely worth the listen. So if you haven't checked it out, no word if it'll be up on digital at any point or not, but cop the CD, Buckshot, super legit with the store, shipping times, fair shipping prices, all that shit. And, speaking of Buckshot, Mobsyle music, Mr. Gray revealed that he's putting out his next project on Mobsyle music. He took to Facebook. He said, "I am happy to announce my next solo endeavor. Shout out to Buckshot and Mobsyle music. This is going to be my best work to date. Releasing in 2022 on Mobsyle music, Mr. Gray, Operation Delirium." Fucking dope. Mr. Gray, Buckshot, they put out their group album with Low Key earlier this year, the Cabal Project, which was super dope. Mr. Gray, formerly of Guerrilla Voltage, they put out dope music. Mr. Gray went solo, started doing his solo thing. All that shit was fucking fire too. Mr. Gray just puts out dope music, man. And having that Mobsyle logo on his shit now and the backing of Mobsyle, like, we know we're going to get some top tier shit. We're going to get some top quality music, merch, probably some kind of crazy bundle. I don't know, maybe. That's what Buckshot is known for, all these jerseys, box sets. He knows what the fans want. He knows how to deliver it to them and kills it. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this, man. Mr. Gray, Operation Delirium on Mobsyle music. I'm excited for it. It's dope to see Mr. Gray still doing his thing and Buckshot putting people's albums out. He helped put out the Turncoat Dirty project this year, and now he's putting out Mr. Gray's project. So is Mobsyle going to be a record label that puts out and signs other people? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Buckshot will, he'll definitely keep us up to date, up on his social medias. But I like seeing that he's working with other people, putting their shit out, being the executive producer that he is. On the year-end wrap-up podcast that I did, I said that Buckshot was the 2021 executive producer of the year. Like, this dude knows what the fuck he's doing. He's killing it. Gives the fans what they want. Delivers a top quality product. Yeah. And I break it down more on that podcast. But yeah, without a doubt, Buckshot, 2021 executive producer of the year. Just think of everything that he's put out through the year. Just top quality shit. So that's dope. Definitely looking forward to new Mr. Gray. And then let's get into a little bit of Zool news real quick. I saw this right before I hopped up on here to do the show. Billy Obey took to Facebook. He said, "I'm almost finished producing 2 full projects for 2 artists. I wonder who they could be? ? Hashtag stay tuned. Hashtag LLE. Hashtag Billy Goat. Hashtag Billy Blasphemy. Hashtag Beat You to Death. So we all know Billy Obey. He's now a producer. He's, producing beats and all that shit. He produced SON's album earlier this year. And now we got two artists, two full projects for two artists coming out being produced by Billy Obey. Like, who the fuck could it be? I didn't really think about this before the show. Didn't give it any thought about who he could be possibly producing for, but maybe the super famous Funtime guys are doing solo albums. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm trying to think of who else. Possibly low key. Maybe low key got Billy Obey producing some wicked shit for him. That would be dope. Who else could Billy Obey be producing for? I don't know. Who do you think Billy Obey's producing for? Let me fucking know. I mean, I'll post this up on my social medias anyway, but I'm curious to see who Billy Obey gonna be producing for and what kind of music we'll be getting and what the production, what that shit would be or will be sounding like. Like, that should be dope. So, yeah. And then we got news from King ISO. I don't remember if I talked about this on last week's episode. I don't believe I did. So we're going to cover it real quick on here. But King ISO announced his next album, Get Well Soon, is dropping next month. I'm trying to fucking pull up a date for you right now. I'm going up on my Instagrams, going to like Strange Music and shit. Their pages. January 21st, King ISO is dropping Get Well Soon. This is the artwork that you see right here. And I've been saying it. I'm ready for a new King ISO album. This dude is dope. I've been listening to him since before Strange Music. And if there's anybody that could take over the Strange Music throne, whatever, it's King ISO at this point. And I'm hyped for it. Not the greatest artwork in the world, but whatever. Don't judge a book by its cover, because the music is probably going to be fucking fire. So I'm hyped for that. New ISO dropping next month. And yeah, it's going to be dope. And yeah, that's going to wrap up this week's show. Episode 166 in the motherfucking bag. I appreciate everybody that's still tuned in right now. I'm sure as soon as people hear that outro music, they tune the fuck out. And it's all good. I still love you regardless if you listen for 30 seconds or 30 minutes or the full hour. I appreciate it. Be on the lookout for the year-end wrap-up show with Joker's Gallery coming soon. The top 20 albums of the year from me. And, I'm going to bounce the fuck up out of here. I appreciate all the fucking love again. I'm Rome Boner, the Beneath the Dirt podcast. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.